Good morning. I want to get back in the Bible study. We're in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5. We're going to start with verse 9. And I want to point out, Paul here, he's talking to brothers and sisters in Christ. And he points out in verse 11, if any man that is called a brother, and then he goes on to list some sins. So he's talking to people that are saved in the church. Verse 9, I wrote unto you in an epistle. So to me, earlier, Paul had written to him in another letter concerning these matters. And he said not to company with fornicators. Don't be hanging out with fornicators. Yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetousness, or extortioners, or with idolaters, for there must ye needs go out of the world. But now, verse 11, but now I have written unto you not to keep company, if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator. And that's people that aren't married, a man and a woman that are not married and are having sex. It says that that's fornication. And it's a sin. God made sex for a man and a woman. Or covetousness. I looked that up. Covetousness is an inordinate or excessive desire for something that belongs to another. That's somebody's always wanting what the neighbor's got. Wanting the neighbor's wife, the neighbor's land. Or an idolater. That's someone that worships anything other than God, whether it's an idol or the sun or an animal or a railer. I looked that up. A railer is someone who uses harsh, insulting, or reproachful language. A reviler. And later on we'll see in chapter 6, verse 10, it talks about revilers. And a reviler is someone who speaks in an insulting or abusive way, often using slander or verbal attacks. Now, since I've come back to the Lord, last 21 years, I've run into two railers. And they're just obnoxious. I call them church bullies. Then it says a drunkard. Don't be getting drunk. Or an extortioner. Extortioner is people who obtain money or property through force, fraud, or intimidation. With such a one, not to eat. He's saying, well, these type of people, don't be eating with them. And he's already said in verse 9, don't be keeping company with them. Don't eat with them. For what have I to do to judge them also that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within? He's saying, don't you judge those people that are within your church? But he said, but them that are without, I'm thinking outside the church, God judges. So to me, Paul's saying those people outside the church, God's going to judge them, but the people that's inside the church, we need to be judging these sins. Therefore, put away from among yourselves that wicked person. And the last thing he says here, not only not to be keeping company with them, don't eat with them, Paul says, put away from among yourselves that wicked person. Before we get too far, I just want to talk about something, and I don't like talking about the old man. But if we look in chapter 5, verse 5, it says to deliver such a one unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh. I just want to tell you a little story. It was during my prodigal son years, running away from church and God. But God was still watching me. Well, we were living in Tennessee and my wife was being transferred to South Carolina. Well, I had gotten a job and went ahead of her, and I was there for 3 months without her. And I got there, and I'm ashamed to say it, but for about a period of 3 weeks, 2 to 3 times a week, I was going to one of those porno shops when you had the videos back then. And I would rent 2 or 3 of those porno videos a week. And after 3 weeks, God struck me with a perianal abscess. Even though I was living the prodigal son life, God still loved me enough to punish me for what I was doing. And during that 3 weeks, I just felt dirty. The kind of dirty that soap and water can't wash off. But thank God, He loved me enough to punish me, and He punished me in my flesh. That's why I look back here at verse 5. For my sins there. Well, I'm going to run on. God bless y'all. Walk with God one day at a time. Bye-bye.